was the very sticky issue that was floating around, which was actually an incorrect position, that we had planned to change freehold title to leasehold titles. One, it is practically not possible within the law for me sitting as a minister or any of my officers to change land tenure from one regime to the other, meaning from leasehold, freehold to leasehold. But with the application and consent of the owner, it is possible. So there was no provision that we had brought to do that. What raised maybe concern is the proposal to levy some charge or some fee on freehold ownership within our cities. Let me clarify again. The levy that we had proposed in the bill that was withdrawn was levy on freehold land within cities. So far, by the description of cities under the Urban Areas and Cities Act, we have Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, and Eldoret is soon coming on board because it has been approved. So 5 cities. But the...
Chair, sorry to interrupt the CS, but because we are House of Records, and she has mentioned a bill that I have sponsored, which what she has said is not accurate. The bill that I had sponsored initially is what then became the Owen Bayer bill, amending the National Lands Commission Act on Section 14 and 15 of the National Lands Commission Act to vest powers to the NLC Act. What Honorable Lesuda was asking is regarding the bill of the Land Amendment Bill number 2 of 2023, which I withdrew, which came from
which was our bill, yes.
And the issue she has raised is the issue of rates on freehold land. And in the bill again, it was not clear whether it was in cities. It is actually the Committee on Lands of the National Assembly that in their report proposed that you limit that to cities. So I think is good.
Yeah, the process was ongoing. I agree and I accept.
What came from the ministry is not what you are saying.
The bill was ours, but there were many proposals to amend even that bill. And so far, maybe the argument is, I'm making this for clarification, that there was no proposal for rates because rates are not payable to the national government or the Ministry of Lands. Rates are payable to the county governments, and they are doing their own review of rates. We were proposing a levy or a charge on freeholds because freeholds within the cities then therefore are enjoying facilities and they are paying nothing. And maybe I could say here that if you look at where the freeholds in this country and in this city, for example, using Nairobi, Honorable Speaker, is that the freeholds are within the Karen, the Muthaiga, the Lavington, and it's important that I say maybe some areas of Kirereshwa, Kitisuru, Kiuna, those upmarket areas. Why? I think it was a skewed way of raising tax against some people and not everybody. So that if you go to the whole of Eastland and the Southlands, then you will find that, you know, areas of all these areas, you know, that I haven't mentioned, they are paying rates and they are paying land rent, both. And therefore, in other countries, what is happening is that if you have a freehold, then you pay, including any other land, you pay some development tax because the land that you are sitting on is actually has been developed to equal. In this country, then we are having some people paying and others are not paying. And I think that is a conversation that we'll be able to bring back to the National Assembly for debate and discussion, and also robust public participation and debate. And I don't think there is nothing wrong in saying that, but we must understand that in other jurisdictions, what is happening is that there is payment of, you know, against charge against land where developments have come and they were not there before, because anyway, these developments must be funded by either the land or by a taxpayer. So, and I think that is what was taken to mean that we are charging a charge on freehold, and there is likelihood.
Alice Wahome, you are being
Yes,
too wordy.
Yeah.
With the word of the Speaker.
You can say what you are saying in very concise terms.
Yes.
Yes.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
The Speaker, I want
I believe I have maybe
Hold-
exhausted.
Hold, there's a point
Yes.
of order there.
Yeah.
The Speaker, it is good to have clarity on this matter because that bill was as well a controversial bill. It is very important to have clarity here that the proposal that came from the ministry was that all freehold land be changed to leasehold in the whole republic. It is Parliament, a committee of this Parliament, and that's why Parliament must be given credit to where they do their work, that is suggesting to them that we should maybe do it in cities. But the ministry, what they brought to Parliament was that they want even the ancestral land that somebody is holding a freehold in Migori. They wanted to change it to leasehold. For what? She should tell us why, what was informing that, instead of now hiding under Parliament.
Alice, why?
The provision was saying that the minister will be able to designate the areas, which then means you designate through regulations, and I would still have had to come to Parliament to be allowed the designated areas that we would have picked. So, and therefore, the proposal by Parliament, I commend. I think it helped and,
Yes,
it improved
There's a
the
point
provision.
of order. Mole?
Thank you, Chair, and I'm sorry I didn't want to interrupt.
You have interrupted. Just go on.
Chair, we are in a vetting process, and the leader of majority and the leader of minority have stated the actual position, but the nominee, she's trying to run away from the reality. The reality is that the bill which came to the House exactly wanted to levy even the ancestral land in this country. And it came from the ministry. She was the CS. So instead of using too many words, please admit we move forward. Because at the end of the day, Kenyans could not accept your proposal. And it came from you. It did not come from the House of Parliament.
Speaker.
It did not come from
Speaker.
Kenyans. It came from your office.
Yes, sure.
Yes, Alice.
Speaker, I said that the proposal had indicated that the minister will designate areas where the levy will be. It was not blanket, because it is not possible to collect.
Point of order,
It is not
Chair.
possible to collect
Point of
levy
order. Point of
in
order.
the
Point of
entire
order.
country.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
that is true. But why do you want to subject a land that is in Bungoma or Migori for a minister who's sitting in Nairobi to designate whether it will be a freehold or a leasehold? Why do you want to do that? Just say it was wrong to do that, and now you are rectifying, you are agreeing with Parliament for that issue to become a city's issue. Just and we move on, Madam C. You are a former member of Parliament here.
I
Point of
think
order,
the
Chair.
clarity I have
Protect.
made, I have
With the
even
Chair,
given credit to Parliament, but I have said that it is Parliament that was going to give me permission to say where to levy the. Yes.
Point of order.
Okay.
A brief one.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes, Naisula.
Thank you, Speaker. And I just want to put it to the nominee, and from what the majority leader had said to another nominee here, that one of the challenges of the cabinet that was there before is communication, because Kenyans are not understanding what you want to do. When they raise questions, it is said to be propaganda, but now we have confirmed here today that it is actually the truth. And so I think moving forward, if you're confirmed, and the last thing also is when there is public participation and Kenyans have an issue with a clause or with a matter in a bill, it should be discussed thoroughly and given the view of those because the bill could be good, everything else could be good, and we have one contentious issue. Could we exhaust it? Because I can assure you, after what happened in Parliament, these parliamentarians will not be a rubber stamp anymore to any issue that will be contentious, Madam Nominee. So that is all I wanted to do, so that we could make progress.
Yeah, thank you. I would hate a parliament that is a rubber stamp. It's of no use to anybody, even themselves. But and I agree with you. This bill had not even gone to second reading, where the debate was going to happen. And during debate, the proposals for amendments would obviously, by the House, I think the subject was still...
We'll make progress. Alice. What the members are telling you
yes,
is that a bill came from your ministry with these contentious proposals to the House. When it was picked up and spread like wildfire, the ministry maintained a conspiracy of silence. Instead of coming up to say, it was our bill, we withdraw it so that you quell the fire, you said nothing. But that is, let's move on. Posing?
Thank you, Speaker. I think there is need for better communication.
Yes.
I agree with you throughout the entire government,
Yes.
including my former ministry.
Yes,
Honourable
even
Speaker,
His
yes.
Excellency the President has said, lamented, that one of the weaknesses in the government is poor communication. You're doing good things which nobody knows. And when you do bad ones, you don't own up.
Questions on housing levy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Point of order, Speaker.
We proceed
thank
to
you,
the
Speaker.
housing levy
Point of
question.
order.
I was asked by Honourable Koech how many people or youth we have employed under the affordable housing levy program. I want to confirm that in our records we have about 106,000 youth, both men and women, and I want to add here that most of them are youthful, below 35, and we ensure also that we include women, because we have women who have the skills and artisan skills. Yes.
youth has no gender. It's just youth, men and women.
Sometimes when you say a man, it is said it is also a woman, but until you say it is both male and female, then there is a problem. So thank you, Honourable Speaker, but I would say the youth, it can be youth, women and youth, or youth men. Yes, so we have ensured that gender is also observed in terms of those who are working and benefiting. Is it sustainable? It will be sustainable if we are able to continue with the housing, affordable housing levy. And I'm aware that it is also still in court. Would I say that up to now we have over 100, we have at least 48,000 housing units that are in different stages of construction, between maybe 20% and 95%, some nearing completion. In fact, we expect that we will be launching several of those units this year. And so it is sustainable, because this is one of the best projects and programs that the country can allow to continue. Everything else bad said about it, but this one, in terms of employment and in terms of self-sustaining, if we can allow the levy to continue, it is sustainable. And I bet that what we are giving, including allowing housing to people who previously cannot access and afford decent homes, then I would think that the country should take it and proceed with it.
I thank you, Honourable Speaker. And if we were to be direct to the question and answer, would say we are almost spending 1 hour only for leadership of the House. We have not even had anything ourselves. So, Speaker, what is mine? Mine is this. Nominee, Honourable Alice Wahome. This issue of house levy or house tax, of course, was very controversial, and it is still controversial. However, because it is in place, it is mainly in urban. It's only in urban. And the people who are paying are in the villages. And most of us in parliament, we represent village constituencies. About 80% of this country is village, or 70% for that matter. And even if, and you know, the government has run to talk about jobs, creation of jobs. My view, Minister, is, if you are confirmed, what will be the housing plan for the rural people who are also paying this tax and paying this levy for people in towns to enjoy houses and to enjoy jobs? Nobody in my constituency or constituency rural who will enjoy those jobs. Nobody will enjoy those housings, right? But we are losing money. So what is it that we are advising even the president or the government in terms of saying, these guys in the rural are paying these taxes or levy, but this is our housing plan for them, so that we can actually move as a country. Thank you, Speaker.
Gikaria.
Thank you, Chair. Me, I will only ask questions that have been raised by Kenyans. The chairman of the IDP camp in Nakuru called New Canaan is asking, after the settlement of the court cases referring to Donga Farm and Kisima Farm, when is the ministry intending to do the titling? Secondly, there is a guy from Joro asking about Ndefo plot in Menengai Slopes and whether there will be titles, whether you will be giving titles to that place called Ndefo plots. Thirdly, is a teacher in my constituency asking about...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, not to interrupt my colleague, I think those questions can only be answered by the minister when she is in office substantively. Whether she can give me a title or not. She can't give anything now.
Honorable Chair.
I was about to tell
she is jobless.
Honorable Gikaria, you are assessing the suitability or otherwise of Alice Wahome being reappointed Minister for Lands. Now you're asking her to issue titles.
Sorry, let me rephrase.
Under what authority?
Let me rephrase.
Yes.
Assuming she's appointed to that, assuming she's appointed to that position, Honorable Chair, because these are pertinent issues, Honorable Chair.
On another point of order,
Yes.
I think Honorable Junet's point of order was very legitimate, because the questions Honorable Gikaria is asking, even if the minister is approved, are the questions that we change our standing orders for, to cause the minister to appear before the House to answer such questions. These are not questions for a vetting process.
Alice, answer.
I think in
Gikaria, you have relayed concerns of your constituents.
Thank you very much.
Which are not vetting questions.
Maybe the last one, and that is related to the affordable housing.
Go ahead.
Is related to the program. Is a very good program for purposes of employment. But the contractors who are given that do not come and actualize that by adhering to the labor laws, by paying, say, for city rates or the rates that are there in the labor law. Maybe what action will she take to confirm that this will be done? And
if she's confirmed.
Thank you.
Again, she can't take action unless we say she'll be a minister. Now, but you can answer those.
I think largely in terms of titering, I want to say that we are not on course because we need better funding for titering. The total number of, in terms of percentage, the country has about 30% of our land titled. Meaning,
Alice, who has asked you that?
Because
the questions they asked,
on the titles.
Hold in. Posing just asked you about how do rural folks in Kenya benefit from housing levy?
I'm
very simple.
Gikaria.
The second one of Gikaria was, will titles be given to some 2 farms? So it's not titling generally.
Let me say that I think you saved me from answering Gikaria's question.
Yes.
And then we leave it at that.
Are you the one I told last time about reading a book of a witness who talked too much?
No, not me.
It was not you.
Not me.
Yes.
And I'm sure.
I think it was Linturi.
Yes. So I will leave that question. On the question of IDPs is gone. Affordable housing in rural areas.
Yes.
This is a new program, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members. It's a new program. It's just starting, and it has been met by various challenges, including litigation. I believe even the rural folk are entitled to decent housing. I see the program moving there going forward.
Mary Amase.
Thank you, Chairman. I had two questions, but one of them has been, I think, prosecuted well. It was on the proposed levy on land.
Very good.
But I would want to say, Chairman, that there is need to improve the communication in terms of public participation. Probably going forward, we need to change the law so that members are involved in doing public participation with the people we represent, so that we disseminate the information and then bring our feedback. But Chair, I want to ask on collapsed buildings. There are reported incidences of collapsed buildings across the country, which have resulted in injuries and loss of lives and property. Oversight of the construction industry falls under the ambit of the State Department of Public Works. So my question is, what has been done to address these cases and to avoid future incidences? In your view, are these measures sufficient in resolving the issue?
Alice.
It is true the regulatory authority, that is NCA, has the mandate in terms of ensuring that only people who are qualified are contractors. But the problem is not just about contractors. I think the problem is deeper. We have people taking shortcuts, and some people also, we need to work collaboration with the county governments, because some of the buildings coming up do not even have plans, so that even the issue of the National Construction Authority or enforcement should start at a further place at the county level. And I think that we need to do our work better. We need to strengthen the Public Works Department, Honorable Speaker, and ensure that in terms of national work, both the national work and the private work, because most of the buildings that collapse are public. But also Kenyans need to work better and ensure that they do their, buildings using professionals. There is a lot of shortcut in that regard. So that the Kenyans should be also their own watchmen. I mean, the government cannot be everywhere. I think government is doing its best, but Kenyans must also start building with integrity, meaning applying the law and the regulations.
Daud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to comment on one thing before I ask you a question. From your CV, you have said you're a member of parliament from 2022 to 2027. So does it mean you were not a minister? I know you were elected until 2027, but you had to resign to? No, it's in her CV. That's what I'm saying. So you need to correct your CV.
I will look at that, because it was only 2022.
Let me ask you my question now. Adjudication mistakes on land are normally sometimes done at the